Hey, welcome to Worship Tutorials. My name's Bradford. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play some of the parts for The Joy from the Belonging Co. I say some of the parts because there's like 6 guitars, and like one of them's baritone, one of them's straight rhythm, another one is doubling the riff that I'm going to show you, and then it's a lot going on. So it's not a tough song as like we're not talking about like some fire in through the fire and the flames, Dragon Force, Guitar Hero kind of thing. Not at all. This is totally doable. And honestly, before I even get much further, let me just say this. You don't have to play the parts just like the record. I do for these videos so people can see what's going on, but when I break them down, you're going to see exactly what I mean when I say it's kind of melts my brain a little bit. There are some parts that are like in the bridge, for example, we play this one part, and the first time through it's one way, and the second time through it's another way, but they're very similar, and so it's like it's a tongue twister, but for your brain. So this song is in the key of D flat. The guy who sings it's kind of high. I don't imagine many people, at least if a male is going to be leading, I don't imagine you'll be doing it in D flat. I've done it in a wide array of keys. All the worship leaders at my church do it in a different key. I can't remember which, but I'm certain it's been like 4 different keys, which it's important. And if you watch any of our videos, you hear me say this. It's important to root the shape or root the part you're playing to a shape so you know how to play it when you have to change keys. I at least try to sit down and play songs once through before rehearsal, before Sunday morning, what have you. But sometimes it's like, well, I know the song, I know the parts, we're just doing a different key, no big deal. And I don't say that to flex, and I always say that too. I always like say this thing, and then I always say I don't say that to flex. I say that to kind of hopefully give you perspective that if you can understand how to root parts to shapes, it's not going to take as much effort to recall them or to switch where they're at. Now, this song, we can break this down a couple different ways. The thing that I would recommend is that you learn the hook, like the turn. That is also being played in the choruses. There's a breakdown where you play it kind of thing. And like the other parts are like just adding some ice into the cake. I'm going to show you that stuff. And again, I'm not going to show you everything exactly like the record because there's so many guitars. I don't think that everybody is going to need every single part. The way I approach this song is how I would play it if I was the only electric guitarist. And that's what we do typically here. But you'll see that, or maybe you notice in the playthrough at least, I'm not playing at times when you can hear a guitar going on. Yeah, because of the fact that there's so many guitars, there are guitars that there is a guitar being played almost the whole entire song. So I stopped to kind of give some dynamics and to allow things to feel a little bit different. The basic of what you need to know, though, we're going to cover. Song, again, is in D flat. BPM is like 132. That's important if you want to have like your dotted eighth delay, which you'll hear in a bit. If you want to have it kind of like gallop the right way. I put a capo on the 1st fret so I can play the key of C. I could get away with not using a capo if I was doing things a little bit differently or if like there was another guitar on stage. But the first parts are like a picking C shape, which we'll get to, that I want those open strings. It's a lot easier. People can say a capo is a crutch, but when you're constantly changing keys to songs, it helps to have something that makes sense to go from. And if I'm not actually playing it in a key that I can put a capo on and use open strings, because sometimes that feels weird or doesn't happen right, I just alter the part to a way that makes sense. But here is what we're doing. This is a Suhr Classic S Antique. It's got an SSV in the bridge. I'm on that thing like the whole time. We have the patch available. Basically, when we make song patches for basically just Helix, FM3, FM9, X3, we use like the same stereo match patch. That was one we released a while ago. Sounds great, and we do it. Here is what it sounds like, though. There's verb on it. That's a snapshot. We're playing rhythm most of the time, so we have drive on. This is a really upbeat song. So the drive kind of darkens it because we want it to kind of be singy and kind of be a little bit squashy in compression. That's just my preference. So that's how I made the patch. If you don't like it, I'm actually using the humbucker patch on this, and that's why it's bright. I've used a single coil patch, and it actually sounds fine too. But that first riff, I'm going to teach you. It's kind of like this like up and back thing. So Like, not that exact thing, but like it's kind of what's happening there. So if we're in the key of D flat, we're gonna start in the 6th fret here on the G string. So that right there, G string, 6, 8, 6. So to the B, back down to the 8, 6, 7 on the B, 6, 9 on the B, back to the 8 on the G. And there's a little flourishing. So 6, 9 on the B, 6 on the E, 8 on the G, back to the 6. So here we go again. So that's the riff. It gets played a couple different handful of different places, and it gets played an octave up in the turns. You don't have to do the octave up if you don't want to, but I really like it because it kind of gives a little flair, kind of changes it up a little bit. So if you're going to do that, you're going to start on the 18th fret on the G string. Play the same kind of pattern and shape. Now when I play it, I do it a little differently. I just like to, my fingers, I don't like playing up here if I can help it, but that's how you would do it. You just play an octave up. Now, I'm going to stick on this here. We're going to jump around order a little bit. The first chorus, you're going to drop out, and the guitar is kind of like on the back half of a phrase. So you're not going to play the... You're going to play the... just that back half. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Right? Okay, so that's when you're going to play that part, just that back half. It's the same thing you already did. 6, 9 on the B. 6, 9 on the B, 6 on the E, then go 8 on the G to the 6 on the G. Put a little flourish. It gives it a little attitude. It's a little more, some character as opposed to... You can do that straight if you want. I like to add that every once in a while in a song when it kind of just gives a little character and whatnot, but here we go. There's that riff. You're going to do it again, like in the breakdown coming out of the bridge. Then we do this other thing in the chorus. Let's move along to that. Like these songs where like parts are kind of similar are kind of hard to teach because it's like, well, you know, if you go in order, then you're... So the back half of the chorus, we're going to... It's like a little tag. Oh, my soul, bless his name. And you're following the melody. So 6, 8 on the G. 6 to the 7 on the B. Back down to the 6 and then back to the 8 on the G. And we're going to kind of walk it up again. So that sound is just trim, really, really deep, intense trim, set to the tempo of the song, 16th notes. And I got chorus on too, because I heard that a little bit. Kind of just gives it a little, it's a little beautiful. So do that. The last half of the song, we kind of like tag that riff a few times. And instead of just playing... I jump the octave. Just for that. Into the outro. Okay, so that's turns and chorus. Let's hop to the verses real quick. So the biggest reason I mentioned this, I have a capo on here. The reason I have a capo on here is for the verses. As I did the playthrough, I played the first verse. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. live. I don't know. It just kind of depends. Depends on like, how does the keys player play? Is the worship leader playing acoustic a little bit more and kind of giving me a little more washiness to fill in? Sometimes a worship leader will absolutely play, and sometimes they take that as their cue to sit back. So it just depends on, like, if I see like, she doesn't want to play acoustic right now. All right, well, I'll play. And if they are, like, if it's only me on electric and them on acoustic, I kind of like choose my moments in the verses to play or not to play based on what they're doing. If they're playing in the chorus, we're doing some philosophy of guitar here. This isn't the song. If they're playing in like a down chorus, I won't. If they're not playing a down chorus, because I kind of like the idea of like the keys and all, I'll just hit like lovely ambient diamonds, but not in this song. So that part in the verse, regardless of when or if you want to do it, we're just going to use a C shape. I'm not even using the B string, but like I always say, like having a shape to root it to, and it's just reminds me, I just play a C shape and I pick through this. So you're gonna kind of like pick your A, D, and G string. So just that, as is, just as they are. But you're gonna suspend it. Technically this would be a C suspended. That part, you're not playing a C suspended, but that's what you're doing. With your fingers on the 4th fret on the A string and the 3rd fret on the D string, and then an open fret on the G. You're gonna play 4, 3, 4, 3, 0, and then back to bring it back down. So you're gonna play right in this back riff, you're gonna play 4, 3, 0, and then get ready because you're about to need to play back on the 3rd fret on the D string again. Now, you're gonna have to fight the urge to move with the chord, because then you hear a 6, and in this case it'd be like a B flat minor. You could absolutely do that if you want to follow along. Again, it would depend maybe on like what the worship leader is doing on acoustic. But if you just stay right there, the bass is moving and you're gonna have other stuff keeping like the flow of the progression going. So that's the verse. Then we have this pre-chorus thing. I love this kind of like, I don't know, it sounds like tension to me. That's the riff. We're gonna play on the 6th fret on the B string, 5th fret on the G to the 6th fret, up to the 8, back to the 6. Do it again. We're gonna walk it up. 5, 6, 8. Back to the 6, because that's our tonic, our 1. That's the first pre-chorus. Second pre-chorus, you're just gonna launch right into the chorus riff, which is again that turn. So there you go. All right, let's move along. Now we got to the bridge. The bridge has a few different things going on. And as I was listening and playing, it was funny because the part I heard the part that I wanted to play, I thought kind of broke up what I had been doing on a guitar. So it felt a little different because there's this other part on, if you listen to the tracks, guitar 1 is what I'm following almost the whole time except the bridge, because I want to let it sit out and I want to give it a little breather before I come in. I like come through second half of the first bridge. We're going to kind of root ourselves on our pentatonic shape, which is, that's our 6th fret here, and we're going to keep it to the D, G, and the B string. Now there's a little bit of string skipping. I don't think it's completely necessary, we just keep it straight. But if you want to fret on the 6th fret here on the string, that's the back half of your D flat bar chord. I'm using my first finger, keep it here. Hear me kind of skipping around. What we got here is the 6th fret of the B string to the 9th fret of the B string to the 8th fret of the G string. This is the part I was telling you where it's like same but different. we're going to play the 8th fret of the G, and then do the 6th fret of the B, 6th fret of the G. Play that part again. Up to the 7th fret of the B, 6 of the B, 6 of the G. So we got this. Here's some effects. Then when we get to like, we keep building. I have another snapshot here on the Helix at least. Kind of makes it more of a lead. This is more like a drier, less drive part. The lead adds more gain and it adds more verb if you want to do that on the bridge, especially like depending on which part you're playing. But then as we build, kind of sit on the 4 chord, which would be a G flat in this case. And you do like this right before you go into like the breakdown with just drums and the riff. You're gonna, if you're keeping your finger here, you're gonna use that. But then you're gonna add, so 6th fret on D, G, B. You're gonna then put your 2nd finger, if you're gonna do it like me, on the B string of the 7th fret. So I like to go up to the 9th fret on the B string as it kind of like resolves itself. It feels good. Actually not sure if that's what's going on in the track, but you hear like the melody do something similar. And that's where you do like that little bit, and you're gonna get stuck playing that riff for a very long time for the rest of the song, because you got like that breakdown and then it builds into the chorus with all the tags and then the outro, which is why I say bouncing up and down the octaves back and forth is helpful, because it just kind of adds some dynamics. So, okay, well that's it. Really for effects, we're using that choppy trem, and I'm turning on my chorus at times. Really any of the clean parts have chorus. I really like using it in the chorus, using chorus on the chorus part as well. Sounds really good, feels good. But a lot of times, like I was saying, changing it up, not doing exactly like your record is fine, but changing it up if you're doing a guitarist, so there's like a different texture, it's cool too. The patches for this song and the full playthrough are going to be linked down below as well for you. Again, we have available Helix, FM3, FM9, and Axe3. That's it for right now. But thank you so much for joining. Please subscribe. If you haven't, we do this for free. There are companies who offer services like this and they charge. We love them. They're great. You know, if this is something that's really important to you and you need more songs more often, we suggest checking them out. But we don't feel like we're offering lesser quality just because it's free. And I think sometimes people may think that. It's like, oh, it's free. How good can it be? No, we could charge if we wanted to, but we charge for presets. Our vision at Worship Tutorials is excellent and authentic worship, and you don't need money to do that. And so we're trying to prove that to you. These units that we have, of course, you're going to have to buy that. That is money. Having gear is important. But we have patches, like basic patches that are chocked full of all the sounds you need for Sunday. We don't hold back on those either. We just always choose to do an AC30 because it's kind of like the quintessential sound. That's free also. So like you don't even have to buy a patch. You can kind of just take what I'm suggesting on stuff and make some tweaks. Again, told you some of the effects and how I dial them in. So again, thank you so much. Check all that stuff out. Grab what you need. Leave us a comment below if you're doing the song, what key you're doing it in, just something so we can get some interaction from y'all and just hear from y'all. Especially if you got song requests, let us know. Doesn't mean we're going to be able to do them or we're going to do them, but we always like hearing, you know, like Reddit style, just upvote things so we can kind of see what the vast majority wants to hear too. But thank you so much. We will see you guys next time.